Welcome to HBCU 101.
I had all the no's, but I got that one I didn't give up.
Spelman's in the building.
Drum major for Morehouse's House of Funk.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to HBCU 101. I am your host, Jaleel Thurman. HBCU 101 is a show that will take you all over the nation, giving you the ins and outs of HBCUs, with a little taste of that HBCU flavor. On today's episode, we talk with the Elizabeth City State University Viking about her radio career. But before we dive into that, let's check out our HBCU news and see what's buzzing in our community.
Okay, thanks, Jaleel. It's always a good time to say her name, We are talking about Beyonc. The international megastar announced this week that she is helping HBCU students stay in shape and stay in the groove. Beyonc has partnered with Peloton to gift students a complimentary 2-year digital membership to online fitness classes rooted in the celebration of music. Now, the lucky schools include Bennett College, Clark Atlanta University, we got Grambling, there's HU and HU, Hampton and Howard in there. They kind of go hand in hand. Morehouse, the Morehouse School of Medicine, there's Spelman College, there's Texas Southern, and Wilberforce University, rounding out those 10 schools. Beyonc, by far the most requested artist on Peloton's global community of more than 3.6 million members. So a good look there and a great way to stay in shape on Beyonce's dime. That's a look at news. Back now to HBCU 101 with Jaleel Thurman.
Some know her for her love for basketball, while many know her as being one of the most iconic voices on Baltimore's 92Q. HBCU 101 is enthused to sit down with Elizabeth City State University alumna, author, philanthropist, and on-air personality, JayCee.
I like that intro. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, JayCee? Listen, thank you for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you. This is a full circle moment for me. So I am excited to talk with you about your career, HBCUs, and everything you got going on. So I just want to say thank you.
Man, no, thank you. You know, like you said, it is full circle. So for both of us to be able to share this space and, it's amazing. Happy for you too, brother.
Thank you. Now let's get right to it. Let's get to HBCUs. You from the DMV.
I am.
You did have a little time at Bowie State. However, you're a Viking.
I am.
Elizabeth City State University alumna. What was that experience like at Viking Nation? I've been there before, so I know the energy is high.
Yeah.
But walk us through your 4 years and why Elizabeth City.
You know, for me, it was sort of not actually my first choice, to be honest. I was an athlete, so all we saw was, the gloves and going. If you went D1, that meant you got treated, fairly. And especially being a female athlete, our glory days are in college. So The only thing that I wanted to do was at least feel as though that the 16, 17 years of putting in all that work to be an athlete, that my mom and dad would be able to reap the benefits of it. And so when the athletic career took its toll and it went in its own direction, my safe school was Elizabeth City because it was a family school. It still is to this day. So dad graduated from there, uncles, aunts, cousins, everybody graduated and crossed at Elizabeth City State University. So I had been going there since I was 2 years old. So it was really kind of all I knew. And it was like, everybody's in the front office with the school with my dad. So I was like, yeah, this is not happening. But it turned out to be the best thing for me, man.
Yeah. And that's the story, I think, with a lot of HBCU alum is what you just said. That was the best thing for me.
Yeah.
And, Elizabeth City, you've been able to take over the game. You're a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. That's probably where you got your hosting, like really love for being in front of the crowd. At Elizabeth City, it's a city that's not too many know is right off the coast. How is that experience there? Like, what is the experience like being a Viking?
Yeah, see, as a kid coming from the city, going to a very rural area, it was very shocking because, most colleges are not allowed to have their cars on campus as a freshman. But because there's no public transportation in Elizabeth City, you were allowed to have your car as a freshman on campus.
Okay.
Now, my mother and father was definitely not having that. So, thank God for cousins, right? So cars are on campus and a license was in full effect. So, I still got around.
Right.
But, the experience ultimately was whatever you made it.
Yeah.
I'll never forget my freshman year, my first semester, because I was so opposed to being at Elizabeth City. I was home every weekend. Literally, I can't make this up. My first week at Elizabeth City, I was home that weekend. They dropped me off Sunday. I was back home Friday night.
Oh, wow.
So I was so against being at Elizabeth City for so long, to the point, because of the fact of not playing ball, because of the fact of not really knowing what's going to happen and trying to navigate, you're a teenager still. And for me, I was still I was 17 when I went to college.
Okay.
So most people in my age bracket were going in like about to be 19 or already 18.
Yeah.
So as a 17-year-old who, graduated with honors and was heavily recruited, all of these different things, to go somewhere that, you just never was on your list or you never thought about it, it kind of was like a shell shock for me. But, that one time I decided to stay on campus, I was up till 6 a.m. playing spades. And it changed everything for me. I never went home after that.
Right. Now, that's the HBCU culture. I attended Virginia State, being so far away from home. I didn't have the luxury of actually going back, but I do understand the hate, or not necessarily the hate, but the dislike, or wanting to be away or do other things. But then it takes that one moment that switches everything for you. And at HBCU playing spades till 6 a.m., that's not abnormal. That's the vibes, that's the culture, that's how you connect. And I'm sure the people that you were playing spades with had to been people from different states, different environments, different cultures. And that's what, to me, ultimately makes being at an HBCU so unique, is the fact that you meet all types of walks of life. Man,
I was playing, I never forget, one of the homegirls, she's from Barbados. Another person was from the Bronx. And if I'm not mistaken, Vegas. So at that time, we were like heavily cultural. Like, you were never in a space where it was somebody that was actually from Elizabeth City.
Right.
Because it's like, you could come from DC, you can come from Maryland, you come from Virginia. And of course, with Virginia being as big as it is, it's only, let's clear this up now. There's only one part of the DMV, of the Virginia part of the DMV, that is claimed. Okay. So we still go by area codes. So anything past 703, you're skeptical.
Right. Right.
But I mean, to come from out of that, because, most of the kids from the DMV area, they went to like Virginia State or Virginia Union. So it was kind of those things like, if I go to State, if I go to Union, I'm not going to make it because I'm going to be home. So I got to go somewhere where I'm challenged enough that, going home is like a privilege. Like, okay. And then when you get home, you're like, no, I'm going back.
Going back. And I totally agree with you. And your career, your love for people and different walks of life is what really catapulted you into where you are now. But we're not going to give him too much right now. We'll do that when we get back from the break. It's HBCU 101. It's Jalil. It's JayCee. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
HBCU 101. Welcome back to HBCU 101.
Welcome back to HBCU 101. I am your host, Jalil Thurman, and I am joined by the ultimate female host, JayCee. JayCee, Elizabeth City State University is in the building.
Talk that talk.
Before we dive back into your career, let's talk trivia. Now, you got a love for basketball. Okay. So, NBA player Robert Covington attended what HBCU?
Okay, let me see. Back. I'm going to go with Tennessee State.
He is indefinitely a Tiger.
Okay, all right. There we go.
Now, JayCee, you're a host, radio personality. But before we even get to where you are now, we got to talk about where you've come from. And so you got your career started in college.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Like, how did that come about? When did you know that was like something you really wanted to do? What was that moment like for you?
So for me personally, everything started when athletics just took its toll. So coming out of high school, you know, I had offers that I never saw, and I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
But because of the fact that I wanted to walk on at different schools. So I tried at Elizabeth City. I played on intramurals. And when I played at intramurals, I had MVP trophies at Norfolk State tournament, you know, North Carolina State tournament that we was doing. I was like, you know, okay. And at the time, the assistant coach the assistant coach of the actual basketball team for school was the head coach of the team that I was playing for. So I'm like, all right, cool. This is going to walk in. About a year later, none of that happened.
Okay.
So I said, you know, I'm at Elizabeth City. I'm 4 hours away and I'm paying out-of-state tuition. Yeah, I'm going home. So Bowie State became my new home.
Okay.
That was 2011.
Okay.
And, you know, I came on campus. I was reluctant, of course. And it seems as though I'm reluctant about all these schools. But I was reluctant about it. And, you know, I think a lot of it was because we looked at Bowie State like the 13th grade in the DMV because it was home.
Gotcha.
And so because of that, I was like, all right, whatever. But I'm here for a different task. I'm here to play ball. Well, had some situations that happened at Bowie State from so many different realms of astronomical thinking that I can't even put into words. Let's just say, I'll put it this way, because I want somebody to hear this. I had somebody tell me that you'll never be good enough to touch the floor. And I did preseason training. I was invited to everything, met my times, everything. And I never sought my day on the court. So I fell into depression. Mental health became something that really, really just took a toll on me, which led me into, I have to do something, right? And I got involved with student activities on Bowie State's campus. So at the time it was called Campus Activity Board. And, you know, got involved with my Sora Coach T, who is like active, you know, everybody knows Coach T if you CIAA, right?
Everybody know Coach.
And, you know, we were planning because we had recently had a fallen soldier pretty much on Bowie State's campus. And I was like, you know, we got to do something to bring the staff and the teachers together. So let's do a staff versus student game. Now, this is where I knew that something was getting ready to happen. The day and hour that, because I had tried out at another school before I was getting, because I was transitioning out of Bowie State at this time, right? The day and hour that I started my career was the same day and hour that I got a phone call from a different coach at a different university telling me they were going to rescind my offer because I was transferring to go to a different school out of Bowie State after everything flopped at Bowie State. About 2 hours later, I'm hosting my very first show. Never had any experience, never did anything like it ever before. I had just seen people and was like, I could do that. And, you know, it's actually because of Coach T that my career actually started.
Yeah, and that's how it happens. You get tossed into situations, sink or swim.
Yeah,
and
you know.
You said, like, I gotta swim. You know, and especially at the HBCU was different. The crowd, the vibes, they'll boo you fast. And so you really had to get some thick skin and really do that. And so going back to Elizabeth City is what really catapulted your career and what really, I think you figured out at Bowie State, this is what I want to do now. I love the energy. It fed you. It's a different energy that you get from a crowd. And then you took that back with you to Elizabeth City. And to now, today, you doing your thing through Baltimore. And that's what I want to dive into. But we'll do that when we return from the break. It's HBCU 101. It's Jalil. It's JayCee. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Time now for Did You Know, brought to you by HBCU Pride. Did you know North Carolina A&T State University alum Tariq Cohen became the first NFL rookie to record a rushing, receiving, passing, and punt return touchdown since Gale Sayers in 1965.
HBCU 101. Welcome back to HBCU 101.
Welcome back to HBC 101. I am Jalil, and I have the ultimate female host with me, JayCee. JayCee, you have the name, the tagline, the ultimate female host.
Yeah.
You got it started at Bowie, but then you catapulted at Elizabeth City.
Yep.
And now today, we can hear you on 92Q in Baltimore as a radio personality. How has that journey been for you?
Man, credit to the Most High. God is my everything, man. And, to go from everything that I went through to get to national radio, that is something that I don't take lightly. It took me 6 years to get into the door of radio. I tried fresh out of college. I had 4 different interviews at sister stations of my actual current station. And it just wasn't God's fit. And I had to finally figure that out down the line. And so it's a good feeling, bro. It's a very great feeling.
When was the moment that you knew that this space was for you?
Woo, okay. Homecoming 2000. Was it 13?
Okay.
I was asked by the time the director of student life at Elizabeth City State University to host the comedy show for Homecoming. And I'm like, I'm nobody's comic, I could probably make you crack a smile or something.
Right.
But, I was like, okay. I said, well, you're going to have to go through my manager. And he was like, what? And I was like, no, you're going to have to go through my manager. And at the time, there was no manager. So I heard it. I was like, that sounds good. I'm gonna use it, right? And but my uncle, my late uncle, God rest his soul, Bobby Burwell, he took over everything for me. And at the time, he was representing one of the Braxtons. And so I was like, listen, I need you to solidify a contract for me. I don't care what it is. Let's figure it out. So he signed the deal. He got the deal, drafted up the contract. He went through legal and everything. I signed a contract to do a 2-hour show for $1,500 as a student on campus. I knew then.
That was it.
That's what you do. The check showed me 2 hours. That was somebody's paycheck in 2 weeks.
Right.
And, a 2-hour show as a host, you're really only probably talking for about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, depending on if you got a stall. So I basically made, once he got his payment out of it, I made $1,300 to do nothing. I said, yeah, this is it.
This is it. Nah, I agree with you. That's when it hits you like, I can get paid to do what I love to do, what I like to do.
And then you see the value in it too, because it wasn't at my mom's backyard. It wasn't a family reunion. It wasn't a family member. It was your actual institution that you're already in debt to.
Yeah.
That's saying, we find value in you. Here's this check.
Right.
What? Okay.
And to me, that's what you just said right there. I can't even put the right words around it because your institution planted a seed in you and wanted to watch you grow. That's what's significant about HBCUs in general. Now, what I do want to do now is it's time for I Got 5 on it. All right. I Got 5 on it. Is this or that? You choose who or what you have 5 on. All right. So we're going to keep it in sports. We're going to talk CIAA. You're a CIAA. I'm CIAA. If you had to choose basketball from a women's sports perspective, who do you have 5 on? Virginia Union or Bowie State?
Oh man, okay. If the coach was still at Union, I would go with that. But Sade Swan has really turned that program around at Bowie State. So I'm gonna take Bowie State.
Okay. And we're gonna keep it sports. We're gonna go to the men's side now.
Okay.
Basketball, CIAA, Virginia State University or Winston-Salem State University.
Oh, is Robert Cologne still playing? Because if he is, Winston.
I got you.
I'm going with Winston.
Now, JayCee, before you go, let the people know where they can find you and what you got going on next.
Oh man, listen, you can follow me at all social media at starring JayCee, of course, at 92QGMs Be More for sure. And honestly, I'm gonna be humble and say you can see anything that I'm doing by, believing in God, because that's what I'm doing right now in this season. So anything that's coming up is in the master's hands.
Say no more. And I love to hear that. It's HBCU 101. It's Jalil and it's JayCee. Stay tuned.
Time now for HBCU Wall Street 101's Diabetes is the 7th leading cause of death in the United States.
HBCU 101. Welcome back to HBCU 101.
Today's Wear Brim Spotlight lands on Tuskegee alum Keith James. James is the founder of Coalition Properties Group, which was founded in 2019 with a simple goal to be the bridge to the community for all things real estate, lifestyle, and wealth building. In less than a year and a half in business, Coalition has reached over $100 million in sales. If you know someone that should be featured on the Wear Brim Spotlight, reach out to us at info@hbcu101.com.
And that's it for today's episode of HBCU 101. I want to send a special thank you and shout out to the ultimate female host, JayCee herself, for giving us the scoop on everything Bowie State, Elizabeth City, and of course, her radio career. For the entire crew, I am your host, Jalil Thurman, and I'll see you next week.